Madam Speaker, I was listening intently when the ranking member of the Finance Committee was asking some questions about taxes that were not there this year that will be included in this package that we are considering. I lost count. After 14 questions, the ranking member asked, is this tax going to be a new tax? And the chairwoman of the Finance Committee says, yes, that is correct. After 14 questions, 14 no taxes that we do not have now, we will have in the future. I lost count after 14 questions. But, Madam Speaker, as we are talking about those taxes, I would like to convey to you and to my colleagues on both sides of the aisle and to those who are watching us on CTN and in the media some of the issues that I face as a business person. Several weeks ago, we were at the Commerce Committee, and as you know, Madam Speaker, I have been a member of the Commerce Committee since I joined this body back in 2002. We were talking about the governor's proposal to bring in 5 companies employing 200 or more people each to the state of Connecticut. And we are all excited. We want to bring businesses to Connecticut. So I left the meeting of the Commerce Committee and I drove back to work. I am sure most of my colleagues know that I work for a small manufacturing company. I arrived to work and at my desk was the day's mail. The first envelope that I opened was a letter from the state of Connecticut indicating an assessment on our unemployment tax. The letter was dated March 11, and it says, you are being assessed an additional $2,793 for unemployment tax retroactive to the beginning of the quarter, meaning retroactive to January 1st, 2011. Now, we are a small company. For a small company to sustain an increase of $2,793 all in one lump sum is a lot of money. What do you think larger companies in the state of Connecticut are sustaining, and how much more they were being assessed at the same time that our little company was being assessed $2,793 retroactive to the beginning of the year? Not from now on, retroactive to the beginning of the year. In addition to that, I look at the cost of doing business in the state of Connecticut. Healthcare. Do you know, Madam Speaker, that in our little small company, the company that I work for, we pay for a family to cover them for insurance close to $1,800 a month. Close to $1,800 a month. You translate that to about $12 to $14 an hour. And now we are continuing to increase taxes even though we know how expensive health care is. And then you add the unemployment compensation, 99 weeks. Right now, 99 weeks, we are covering people who are out of work. Do you know, Madam Speaker, that I have people walking in, knocking at the door, and they want a job. And I ask them how long they've been unemployed. And they say, well, about 2 years, and my unemployment ran out, so now I am looking for a job. After 2 years, technology has passed them by. Technology changes every day, and it's changing our lives, and technology has passed them by. And I ask them, and they say to them, did you work throughout these 99 weeks? And they say, I did some work here, I did some work there, and that's about it, which means they were working under the table at the same time that they are collecting unemployment from the state of Connecticut. The cost of doing business in the state of Connecticut, insofar as workers' comp, unemployment compensation, energy, health care, regulation, transportation, skilled workforce, has been unbearable for businesses. Unbearable. I see that every day. I live it every day. I go to work in the morning before I come here, and many times I go back to work to check things out. Madam Speaker, the ranking member of the Finance Committee was talking about a company that left Waterbury 2 weeks ago. The same day, a gentleman whom I helped to come to Waterbury and open his business in Waterbury back in 2006, a company came in to make gluten-free products. They hired 8 people to work in Waterbury. He walked to my office to thank me and say, we are closing our doors and we are moving out. 8 employees lost their jobs. Not only that, the gentleman and his wife, who was working with him, bought their home in Waterbury, actually in Representative Berger's district. Now they have to sell their house and move out of Waterbury. These are the issues that we are facing and we continue to face. Madam Speaker, I am hearing more taxes being levied by this budget that increased the taxations by an amount that was unheard of before, the highest ever in the history of the state of Connecticut, and then we say we are open for business. We cannot keep the businesses that we have. We cannot bring businesses to Connecticut. We cannot tell them to come to Connecticut, because once they come to Connecticut and they see the cost of doing business, A, they will not come, and B, they will not survive. And this is a fact that I think all of us on both sides of the aisle should consider before we push in the button and voting yes on this budget. We have problems in the state of Connecticut, and right now it is time for us to cut spending, adopt a budget that is responsible, that gives middle-class people the ability to survive and to live in the state of Connecticut rather than chasing them away. Madam Speaker, this budget is not a responsible budget. It will be very difficult for us to explain to our constituents that we voted in support of it. And therefore, Madam Speaker, so far everything that I have heard, everything that I have read, everything that I heard from my constituents tell me that this budget is not a budget that we can support. It is a budget that I cannot, in good conscience and in support of our constituents, push my green button and vote in support of it. It is not a responsible budget, Madam Speaker, and I urge rejection. Thank you.